everybody. This is Apple Tree's third episode of the third season.
We are
Hello,
back
Vladimir.
again.
Yeah, we waited for this episode for too long, I think. We wanted to have an episode on Swift evolution, and I think we even promised something like that in our previous episode. But no, this episode will be dedicated to our hopes and predictions for WWDC. So sorry about that. We will probably have to review the Swift evolution later. And depending on how WWDC will go, it might be like much more into the future. We will see. As of now, by the way, maybe we can recap something. I mean, let's maybe start with that before we will go into all this stuff we think
We will not
happen.
name it. Yeah. We will not name this stuff that's gonna happen on WWDC, I believe. Yeah. So again, we are getting back to our Rust, not intro, but just part of our episode about Rust. So thanks, Apple. Again, we have something new from Rust in Swift. So there are two. One, like, it's mostly Rusty in a good way, Swift evolution proposal, and one more somewhat similar, but not very much. So actually, I have their numbers. So right here. So one of them is 390, and another one is 377. So
Okay.
they are tightly coupled because they all about memory management, and specifically about memory and parameters ownership. So yeah,
ownership manifesto is getting implemented, right? Like gradually.
Gradually, not in a best way, but still, yeah, it's going somewhere. But I would say that in current situation, when Swift team has to support both IRC and their new idea, that might be not the worst way to do this. So going back into details, SE0377 is about borrowing and consuming parameter ownership modifiers. People who at least tried writing in Rust know about this borrowing model. So borrowing means that someone else owns the piece of memory, some object, and they just lend this parameter, this pointer, someone to use it for a while. So in this particular Swift evolution proposal, they talk a little bit about motivation and what this means in general to borrow and consume parameter. And here, I cannot say that I 100% understand their motivation, because they not try to implement it the same as it's done in Rust. Because in Rust, the idea is that you can have only one owner. If you want to have somewhat reference counting, there is a special type for that. Okay, two of them. But in normal use case, you create a variable, and there's no classes in Rust.
Yeah.
There's only structs, but of course some structs can be allocated on heap, some on stack, so that's okay. And if someone create, for example, in some function, in main function, we create a variable. So we either can own this variable for whole life cycle of the application, and we can borrow it to someone, to some to some struct, to some functions, whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Just quick note from my side. I think the idea in Swift is not to replicate, but rather guide the ARC methods to be added, or like, I mean, the basically they removing retain releases where they will not be appropriate. Like, so the retain releases basically should be thread safe operation, and therefore it's like very time consuming. So if you can remove any retain or release, that should improve performance significantly. Like,
yeah, but so we need to also think that, so in this case, borrowing, as far as I understand, it also can apply to value types,
yeah,
which doesn't have any reference counting. And so technically, we're gonna have normal way to just initialize some, I don't know, container, not array, but something like something big, and just borrow it, give it to read, and that's it, and return it back. It will be probably non-modifiable. So, and this is so. In general, Apple now going back to somewhat manual memory management, but in a good way. So, in their motivation, they say that under the hood, we use both these techniques, both borrowing and consuming. But we know that in some cases, developers want to manage this manually and specify what type of ownership they want to use in this particular case. What is a little bit strange in this proposal is how they propose using, like, how to work with self. So, for example, if you want to make sure that some method consume self or borrow, you have to prepend a function like before a func, you have to put consuming or borrowing, similar to mutating.
yeah,
And yeah, this is okay for, like, if you compare this to mutating, but in general this looks a little bit strange. So this is just implicit self. This is
yeah.
okay, but yeah, this is strange. So there are a lot of about this, but I'm not sure that this will touch every developer on planet. However, if you know what to do with this, you can do a lot with that and optimize your memory management, and especially memory copy, which is often very time-consuming operation.
Right. By the way, does this affect the Swift 6, right? It's not something planned for 5.9 or 5.9.
So this is implementation Swift 5.9
Okay.
without no implicit copy constraint. I don't know what this means. This is something about copy. Yeah, so they just try to show how this work in different cases. So, and the good thing that if you declare some parameter as borrowing, and then you try to assign it to a variable, to another variable, compiler will fail because it says, okay, this is borrowing. You cannot consume this because
Right.
assignment to a variable is consuming operation. So this is pretty good. And why I said that it's tightly coupled with 390, because 390 is about non-copyable types, non-copyable structs and enums. So finally, we have an opportunity to declare something that cannot be copied. For example, you have some. So in their example, they use file descriptor as a like example, because file descriptor should be, in the best way, it should be in one
Yeah.
place. However, using class for storing it maybe not very useful. So in this case, you can declare this file descriptor, so wrapper around file descriptor as non-copyable type, and it will not allow to copy it. And here we can use borrowing mechanism. So we can work with that parameter, but we cannot like copy it, work with it somewhere else. So this is something that looks very interesting for me, and probably both two proposals, borrowing and non-copyable types. This is something that can help me in my daily life. Not so much, but sometimes.
Yeah, and I think one thing it can improve is actually making Swift this system language. So when you have to deal with these C APIs, with all the stuff which you like typically don't touch when you just develop your macOS or iOS applications, but when you want to deal with something like, again, file descriptors or handles which are and you want to make those APIs a little bit more friendly and a little bit more safe, then these things should help.
Yeah, I can even rewrite my SQLite wrapper with that. I will think about it.
Okay.
We
so
promised we did this. So
yeah. Let's get back to this as soon as we hear something on WWDC. I mean, I still want to see their path to Swift 6 because that will be, I think it will be ABI breaking release, right? Do I remember correctly? So they will be changing the binary interfaces and of course source code compatibility.
Swift 6, yes, but Swift 5.9, no,
yeah.
I believe.
So it's only Swift 6. So they promised that the Swift 6 will, I think it will be coming either later this year or maybe next year. So they still very cautious about the Swift 6, and they plan to have Swift 6 binary interfaces stable for much longer time. And I'm not sure about the source code compatibility, but also that they now added a couple of compiler modes, so you will still be able to compile the sources from the previous Swift language.
So for people who successfully transited from Swift 2 to Swift 3, this won't be an issue.
Yeah, so I think that won't be an issue. They will cover that, but. Okay, I think the
one last thing. So I forgot about this one. So 380.
Okay.
And it calls if and switch expressions. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. This is so good. So for people who don't understand what this is about. So now for example, imagine you have some variable, I don't know, ID, and you have an if that decides from where you should like copy this ID. Now you have to write let ID string, then if, and inside if ID equals, now you can write let ID equals if or switch. Finally. Yeah. So if is an expression. This is so beautiful. I love this.
Right. Yeah, this is something which definitely
this will impact our life.
Yeah. That's, I think, inspired by Rust. I'm not sure about other languages which had if and switch as expressions. I'm not.
I remember this from Scala.
Oh, maybe. So. Okay. So functional languages, maybe they have something like that. But this is definitely a huge thing, and that's. That will be. I also had a couple of places in different projects where I would love to see switch as an expression, and it will make code a little bit more like nicer to read. But okay, that helps. Okay, since we are still talking about our predictions, let's now recap our previous episode. So ChatGPT, Apple, like. No news from Apple on ChatGPT or any other generative AI based on large language models.
No papers published anywhere.
But the thing is that after that episode, there are a couple of news regarding Apple hiring AI engineers, like many AI engineers. So there are a lot of positions open for the AI teams, and there were a couple of rumors saying that, well, actually Apple knows that this hype exists. Well, okay, we kind of
They heard
expected that
about
they,
that,
yeah,
at least.
they read it about that somewhere, yeah. And they're actually working on a couple of projects. And let's do a prediction game. Like, my idea was, if Apple is like evaluating these language models, what could they do with that? Well, obviously Siri, right? But probably not this year. I mean, it's like too early. And my main idea here is like, if you put this model into Siri, you need this model to be predictable. So this model should not start, I don't know, some Nazi wars, or don't use obscenity on users or anything. And Apple really needs this to be true. So they can't rely on, well, in like 99% cases it will not, but well, like this 1% of the users will be a lot of users hearing something bad from from such kind of model. But so again, I think they are working on redoing Siri, and I also read a couple of rumors regarding some internal projects trying to rebuild Siri from scratch on the totally new architecture. However, what is more realistic is some kind of Copilot remake in Xcode, and we already have Xcode Cloud. Like, probably this would be the great place to have something which will be powered by that.
I have an idea. Apple, please don't do your own solution. You're not very good in cloud services. So let's just create a plugin for Xcode for our normal Copilot. That would be enough.
Interestingly enough, there is such a plugin.
Non-official.
Non-official, definitely. Yeah, but it's already there. However, what I would probably want to see, like, let's imagine we have Xcode Cloud, right? We already have, we can run builds there. It does a lot of stuff like which normal CI would do. How about you provide automatic code review? Like, basically, you're going through our code and suggest the things which are like, I don't know, we have our reviewers, but you can add additional one which will be AI powered, and it can, I know it's not static code analysis, but it will be some kind of, it can, I don't know, you can configure it to have styling recommendations, or maybe like basically only focus on like significant errors which you produce and so on. So this could be a good thing. And I'm not sure like how like I'm definitely not sure that this will happen on WWDC, but during the year they could land this feature on Xcode Cloud, and
they can announce it and then
implement
and land
it
for
like
the rest
in
of
December.
The year.
Yeah.
Late in December, January.
Yeah, somewhere like later. Yeah, but again, it feels quite natural to have it in Xcode Cloud. Again, like you will not be able to run it locally for now because of the of the nature of these models. And I'm not, again, it depends how much they will charge for that, but it's still, for me, it will make your the Xcode Cloud offering more useful for the developers, because like now we have not just CI, which you have to have for your iOS projects and a separate one for Android, but now you will have something valuable, something interesting. And
finally, Apple they can use all the GPU power that they have in ARM chips.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. So
actually, what would be better is to have these stuff locally with Apple focus on privacy, and remembering that we have a special neural engine chip inside M series. So I understand that it's impossible to run a large language model on phone now. Okay, but run some kind of neural engine focused more on like working with the text on your Mac, where you have a lot of power and a lot of memory and capacity. Why not?
It's interesting that you're saying about that because there are a lot of experiments now. Like we see how these LLMs are going to like two directions. One direction is basically build more sophisticated models, like 400 billion parameters. I think like they will go to trillion parameters sometime soon. But these models need a lot of power to run, and therefore, like if you try to use ChatGPT 4 on OpenAI, you have quite limited amount of requests you can make. You have quite limited amount of the the response time is significant, so you basically cannot scale that right now, and you have to fall back to
you can pay $20 a month, and that's it.
And it's still like they limit you a lot. Like
Sure.
So that basically means that their data centers are overloaded with that, so they basically cannot scale that easily. On the other hand, there is another direction, basically taking, I don't know, like 3.5 and make small model which operates, well, probably worse than ChatGPT 3.5, but in an like enclosure which will work on your personal device. And like sometimes you don't need all the knowledge of the world and all the capacity. If you can limit that to your specific area but still run this model locally, then it's a huge win. And I think Apple definitely will be exploring that option as well in order to run that on your personal devices. And currently we don't need to just say about phones and laptops. We will talk about that a little bit later, like, because I think there is another opportunity where you can put these models.
Being honest, I didn't watch Google presentation with AI, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I read a lot about that, and what I heard about it. So this is like what they presented and what is good. So first of all, they have 3 versions of their current Palm 2 model, like small, large, and extra large. So it depends on number of parameters, of course. And then they announced different small models, specialized models. I remember medical, like something like about law and other stuff. So, and this is something interesting. So, as far as I understand, what they do, they just use this small model. At some point of time, they stop learning it. Then they just start learning it on specific topic. So at that point, that it gathers some like basic knowledge. After that, they start doing all the specialized thing. So, and yes, we don't need all this stuff. Like I don't need chat on my phone. Being honest, so I need more smart Siri, and probably more smart auto completion.
Oh yeah. The smarter keyboard is something which we all would like to have, but again, private,
yeah, locally. And the bad thing that this will significantly affect our battery life.
Oh yeah.
So, and I believe so if it's so, Apple will not do this. I hope. Or they say, okay, guys, we have iPhone 14 and 15, so have fun. It has a lot of battery. Congrats, users of old phones. But yeah, I hope like so. This is everything about software.
Yeah.
But what Apple can do, they can do something very radical in terms of hardware. Because now they're not like major competitor to NVIDIA, but since they worked on their neural engine and ML stuff for a while, maybe they have something in their pocket to show us. Maybe not to deliver this year, but to say, okay, guys, see, now we have a chip that can multiply all these matrices 5 times faster than it was before. Five
Yeah,
times faster? This is okay. Okay, maybe it will be such slow. Okay, but it will consume 5 times less power.
exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
this would be awesome.
yeah, yeah. That's we'll see. I mean, the current predictions that they will be showing M3 chip on WWDC with probably MacBook Air 15-inch or something like that.
Mac Pro.
On the Mac Pro, yeah, I
No.
mean it's actually long overdue. I mean they definitely need, and honestly, if they can run, so they have Mac Studio. You can take even like M2 Ultra. If you can run
Do we have
multiple
M2
M2
Ultra?
Ultras in
Are you
one,
sure?
well, I
Far as I
mean,
remember, we
no,
have
there
only
is no,
M1.
But
Okay.
if you take like, well, I mean, it's obviously easy to implement the Ultra chip. I mean, if they can solve the
Deliver.
yeah, so it's a complicated thing, but they had M1 Ultra and M2 is basically it's not a big of a difference between M1 and M2, so they probably can make M2 Ultra, but like let's imagine you can somehow run two M2 Ultras in one enclosure, and then here is your Mac Pro actually. I mean, I'm not sure if that's possible to run M2 multiple chips, so they can scale the chip, but this is the system on the chip. It's not just the CPU, so they probably need to solve a lot more issues with that. But
Yeah, I would about to say just so Apple so Mac Pro is all about extensibility, so they never do this non-extendable, and now I remember a Mac Pro trash can. So
yes,
yeah.
that was not a problem for that. But yeah, and extensibility, like one of the things which you would probably want to have extensible is memory, and it's part of the system on the chip, and therefore like it's not extendable. So I don't know in regards to Mac Pro in terms of extensibility. However, the extension cards, well, I think that's doable. Like they might use the standard interfaces. I know, like something which is industry standard now, but I don't know. I mean,
Okay,
I'm not
Apple,
sure they
we
will release
believe.
anything. Yeah,
We believe in
yeah.
you.
Okay, so let's give us before we move to the next topic. So, how do you think will we see something for the developers based on large language models from Apple announced on WWDC? What's your and we will be kept accountable for what we're saying here.
Okay, yes. I believe that they deliver something for developers, because for users, so being honest, users want to have something like this on their phones, and
Yeah,
I'm not sure that we are ready to deliver this on phone right now. But on Macs, on Xcode, probably with Xcode cloud based. Yes, I hope so, because it's a hype train they can use for
yeah.
for their benefit.
Well, my again, I didn't hear any rumors about that, but I still hope, and I have small expectation that they might at least announce something based on this. For and again, my prediction is it will be a part of the Xcode Cloud offering, some which will come from that. How and what exactly? I'm not. I mean, again, I don't think there will be like a lot of stuff happening there, but they might announce something and then deliver that much later into the year. So
They can do a very beautiful move just by leaving pricing for Xcode Cloud the same,
right, yeah,
deliver new features. Because being honest, I don't know a lot of people who use Xcode Cloud, and probably even if they introduce new features and people start using it, they probably will not use Xcode Cloud as a CI.
maybe, yeah.
Maybe so, and they still will have some profit from this. So this might be a good idea.
Yeah, so like our consensus is that if they want to improve the adoption of Xcode Cloud, this large language models, Copilot opponent will be really great addition. So Apple, like, if you don't do that right now, like, listen to us and like consider this. I mean, we are experts here.
Okay, you have weekend, please.
Yeah.
Just do something. Okay,
Yeah.
fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. At least you can make slides about that, right?
Yeah, sure. But I believe they already recorded everything, unfortunately. But they can edit it
Yeah.
with their new Final Cut on iPad.
Right. And by the way, we will be talking about iPads in a bit. I mean, I have a theory and I'm following the rumors here, but it's still an interesting thing why iPad is now really important platform. But before that, let's focus on one announcement which already happened, the accessibility features. And this happens for a couple of years already. So they announced some new features before WWDC. That's for the Global Accessibility Awareness Day. And there are two features I would like to talk here. First is the assistive access, which is basically significant simplification of the applications. And they showed a couple of those, like the phone, the messages, and the camera. And the idea there is you only strip out everything and leave only essential feature of the application. And they tailor that for the people who might need more focus because they need to have less distractions. But that's actually a really great idea, which other developers could probably follow as well. Like, we have a lot of applications which do everything, and there was a trend creating on these super apps, which do a lot, but why? And if you strip out everything and leave essential features of your applications, maybe some users will appreciate that. And at least if you do that as an option in your application. You can do that right now, by the way. You don't need to wait for Apple to release new operating systems. You can have switch in your settings, which will tell just simplify and have 3 screens instead of 20, right? And if you're doing messaging, just leave the messaging, and that's it. Don't add payments there.
Screens, and that's it.
Yeah. And personally, I think this is a really great trend, and if Apple provides developers with maybe you can check if this simplified mode is turned on, so you can show different version of UI of your application. I was trying to read the press release. There is no mentions about the APIs. Maybe I was reading it not thorough enough, but I expect that there will be something that you can adjust your own applications as well. So. That seems interesting, at least for me, the idea of having simple and straightforward version of your application which targets only essential feature of that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
We'll see. And another thing, and that will be our gradual shift to another topic. So they showed another thing, which is the detection mode in magnifier. So you take your iPhone, launch your magnifier application, which is basically digital zoom of the camera, and then it already does a lot of things. It can detect people, doors, something like that. But now you can point your finger, hold your phone and point the finger to something, and this application will detect that object and read the text from that. And they were showing example of buttons on the microwave. It will show what the button says, which is great. However, and here comes the transition. What other device could use the same technology without accessibility features and without you having to hold something in your hand?
But you have to hold something
on your head.
On your head.
Yeah.
Maybe some headset.
Yes, exactly. And actually, my theory here, that this magnifier object detection mode is a feature which was added to accessibility but it comes from totally different team, but rather from the team who was working on the UI for the headset. So, and let's now just recap. We all expect Apple to show some kind of headset, which most of the journalists call Reality Pro. Who knows how Apple exactly will call it, but probably, well, we'll see. And it will be powered by XROS or Reality OS or whatever.
Impossible to pronounce.
Yeah.
Please,
So,
no.
And the idea there is that it will be the virtual, so it will not have the transparent screens, but it will rather, like you will have the screens on your, showing picture to your eyes, but it will also have cameras which will look forward and like send to your eyes the image of the AR.
Okay,
and therefore,
how your phone feels. Because
exactly. But it's like it will be attached to your eyes. Yeah. So
No. This is a question to you. How your phone feels. Because, okay, now it's from.
Okay, my phone feels bad. Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah. So just for those who are interested, I'm using the continuity camera, and which actually pretty well. But as we can see, it.
So you can see that we should not believe in this reality with the cameras.
That's actually an interesting idea. Yeah, we'll see. No, I think that we don't need to believe the cables and everything and all the connections we have to do. So let's get back to the topic. So we have now this idea of having the headset, which will be announced on WWDC and probably will be available for a purchase in December. I think they need to target something like Christmas here. And well, like as always. Another thing, we can expect that this headset will be hugely expensive, like $3,000, maybe more. It will be targeted
how many Mac Minis you can buy.
Right. So they will be targeting the developers and professionals here with that, which is reasonable, especially if you want to release something more like affordable later. But you need to have an ecosystem already. You need to have an applications. You need to have a lot more stuff already existing. So the regular consumers will be able to just buy and they will instantly have all the things available to them. So that seems okay, like, right?
Yeah, but what purpose? Like, what applications do you see for this thing?
Yeah, that's really good question. So every time we talk about this headset, the main question is why do I need it, right? Well, obviously you can play games, but that's not the thing which will Apple target as the main. Well, I mean that will be one of the main features, of course. Like that's great and everything, but that couldn't be the only thing. I was looking to other options like Magic Leap or HoloLens, and unfortunately those are terrible. They are AR headsets, and they have either like very small field of view, which basically makes it impossible to use. And they have pretty bad displays, and so they are expensive but not usable. Like for me personally. Couple of cases I thought might be interesting. Let's imagine you are developer, software developer. You do a lot of coding. You do a lot of prototyping, interfacing. Yeah, what you can have, like we are currently limited by the amount of screens we have. Like you have your MacBook, you have maybe additional screens attached to you to the side, and maybe another one. Like if you're And now imagine you have unlimited screen. So you have your headset and you can look around and you have a lot of screens everywhere and you can interact with them.
Finally, I can place all my windows into one screen.
And that seems interesting. I mean, I read a couple of rumors that you will be able to attach this headset to the Mac as a separate screen. And I mean, that might be the case, like not the separate screen, like showing in your eyes constantly, but rather virtual screen, which will be standing nearby your Mac. The only thing we need for that is that the resolution of these displays should be good enough so you can read the text.
Yeah.
Because this is crucial. If the resolution is like will not be provide you with the reading capabilities, then this like you as a developer will not be able to use that. So that's one thing, and we kind of expect that the resolution will be good.
Maybe this price is because they're gonna use, for example, mini LED displays there.
That's one of the topics what Apple can do. So they can use superior display technology there. I've read a rumor about some micro OLED displays. I'm not exactly sure what's that. So from my understanding, the current OLED displays you kind of hard to miniaturize enough, so to have the good resolution. That's why almost all vendors using LCDs, and that's basically like they're not using micro LED, and therefore like you have a bad contrast ratio and so on and so on. So they might create great displays there, and that might benefit will make you use this device better. Another thing which they can use is actually, which we already can have. We have vision framework and we can have gesture, hand recognition and everything. So let's imagine we will have multi-touch for AR. Like first iPhone provided you with the multi-touch gesture on the screen, and that was like huge deal. I mean, that was so simple and was so intuitive, and that worked. In order for the headset to work, you don't need the controllers. I mean, again, if you need the controllers for that basically you already failed. Like that's not something you would like. If you can use your hands and the device will be able to recognize your hands and gestures precise enough, then you have a winner here. So all the current implementations, they also have these gesture recognitions and everything, but they're quite flaky, let's put it that way. So this is another thing. So if you can use your hands and that will work, that will bring this device to next level. And let's put that aside. So like no additional controllers. However, like again, we have watches, we have phones, and we have ultra wideband chips in those.
We have our Apple TV remotes. I can buy two.
Yeah. Well, no, no. But again, I think that the Apple piloting LiDAR in iPad, then they were piloting ultra wideband with the iPhone and then AirTags. This is something which looks quite interesting for the headset. Precise positioning.
At least they allow us to unlock our phone with face. So probably they know something about that.
Right. So what's the... So what about the iPads? Couple of rumors said that the iPad OS applications will be able to run on the headset. So some kind of virtualized environment. We were talking about the screens. What I imagine is that, well, currently iPad can have Stage Manager and multiple windows and everything. Now let's imagine you have all of the screens already in the virtual world, and you interact with them with the hands and maybe glance. So you can look at the specific app, it will be automatically expanded, and you can interact with it. You look away, it like minimizes and everything. That looks, first of all, that looks doable. Like I'm not sure if they will be doing exactly that, but that looks pretty like well. I mean, with their capabilities, they will be able to implement that.
Yes, but how to sell this to average housewife?
If you're selling that to the professionals, then you need some professional software for that. And we now have Final Cut Pro for the iPad.
Yes.
So let's imagine you are sitting on your desk and editing a movie, like dragging something somewhere, putting together. And like you don't need a lot of screens there to combine the things together. And for the Logic Pro, again, you're working on your new great song.
I cannot share this. So just I got a message from my daughter Vera asked for more time in YouTube Kids, so it's just a message for me and my wife. This is awesome.
Yeah,
Technologies
yeah.
are just
Right. So I think the iPad OS and its capability is a good thing to start seeding the ecosystem for the headset, because the applications there, as I said, you can resize the windows. They have their restrictions, so you can take Mac applications and put it to the headset because they are there are a lot of unrestricted things you can do, and you don't
and a
want
lot
that.
of very, very outdated APIs.
Exactly. So you need something which you have more control of, and iPadOS seems to be exactly that. You have interactions, okay? So you need some kind of new way of interacting with these virtual applications. But again, hand recognitions probably will play a role there. Maybe something else.
You can connect your Magic Mouse.
That's yes, or Magic Trackpad or Magic Keyboard as well. That's also, by the way, also the case. So this is a part like adding productivity software to the headset with the help of iPad. So this seems kind of.
It looks like Xcode will be released sooner to Reality Pro rather than iPad.
Oh yeah, well, maybe that will be like basically something. So again, like looking into this, it seems like pretty logical here. So we are like constructing everything there, but you will still need the let's say native applications for AR, and that should be like something which uses full capabilities of that. And as we currently hear the rumors that these capabilities, so it's basically will be M3 chip, and there will be a lot of sensors looking. I don't know. So I heard the rumor that they will be checking the face expressions and your eye movements. So there will be cameras looking into your eyes. There will be cameras looking into your face, like from probably down from the headset edges. And there will be cameras looking forward and maybe sideways, in order not to, like basically when you're doing a lot of hand gestures, you don't want this hand to be like stopped from the scanning when you like moved it away from the cameras, what camera can see. So they probably have a lot of cameras there.
So now I understand why Apple focused so much on privacy last years, because having cameras everywhere,
Yes,
you should trust Apple in this case.
exactly. And one sketchy rumor. So that's another thing. So the headset, like from what we can see now, it looks like your, I don't know, ski mask, right? It's like,
Yeah.
but it's just black outside. One of the I don't know, journalists said that they might project something on the, so that this black screen outside will be actually a screen. Like it will show your eyes there, which is
emojis.
yeah, that could be kind of creepy. However, like let's my personal thing. So why do you need that? You need, like, if somebody if you look into somebody who is wearing this head mask and you don't see his or her eyes, then it's a problem. Like you lost some of the facial clues, and you don't understand if the person looks to you or not. But like projecting the eyes like with the full brightness, that's also not a good option, because it's basically, first of all, the screen is like it's offset from your eyes, and it definitely will be looking a little bit creepy. However, if you put that dimmed, like you will look into person as the person wears some kind of sunglasses, like you will still see something like dimmed, but you will still see movements and everything. That's actually an interesting idea, and that might differentiate, and that might make this headset more sociable. Like you will see that it's actually a person wearing glasses rather than the person wearing something and the person doesn't see you. So
to buy Ray-Ban reality face, you have to pay extra $300.
yeah, well, again, honestly, I don't think that this will actually happen. However, that might be an interesting thing to see, this like external screens that will make it a little bit easier to communicate with the person who is wearing this headset. So I wouldn't say that will happen, but if that happens, that will be really cool if they can make it not creepy.
I hope so, because
So, couple more things.
being honest, before having a talk with you, I was so skeptic about that stuff. Now I believe that someone can buy this, and especially if they do this stuff with a screen outside. Oh, this will be so popular thing for not kids but teenagers, because I don't know.
Yeah,
You
it's,
live in the US, not me. I believe in the US it's not a big deal for rich kids to buy something like this for $3,000.
oh yeah.
So maybe that, and if so, maybe we are too old. We cannot understand this, but for them that may be okay. And Snapchat had not this, but somewhat these AR stuff in their device, and they had a partnership with Ray-Ban, as far as I remember, but I'm not sure about that.
I think it was Facebook partnering with the Ray-Ban.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was creepy, yeah.
But I believe that teenagers can love these if these, and this is Apple. This is tightly connected with the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
Maybe they are target like audience for this stuff for now.
I'm also I was scouting for recent AR announcements which were happening like a couple of years like since AR Kit was introduced. There are a lot of new features added. So first of all, collaboration, like even on WWDC they were giving you iPads to play some games. So you were using iPad in order to use some game in this AR reality. So you needed to push the ball to the other side. So AR Kit and Reality Kit provide you with an ability to collaborate on the same AR object with multiple people in the same room. Definitely, that would be a feature of the headset. Well, we know that it will be.
Okay, so we can develop a game like Surgeon Team. Main surgeon.
Or like if we skip the games, let's imagine we have a meeting where you present your project of, I don't know, new skyscraper, and you have the model on the table, but it's just a virtual model. And you can work with it together, or it's a car, or it's some new device which you show, and you basically interact with it, but you don't actually have to build it from any physical materials. And every person in the room takes the headset and they work with that together, ask questions, and they still in the same room and they still communicate with the same thing, but they are basically using this headset. So there is some business cases for that as well. Another topic which they introduced quite recently is a room plan. Basically, the idea which you can scan your rooms with the AR. And I actually don't have exact business case now how it can fit the headset, but it definitely feels that a room understanding might be a good idea.
They can partner with IKEA and sell virtual furniture, and you will have nothing else in your room.
Yeah, but that's easy. That's the simple thing. But what else could you do with that? I'm not yet sure yet, but it seems that this room plan with the AR headset might have some more things there. I don't know, like virtual paintings on the walls and everything, like something like that you can do easily. And the ultra wideband, which by the way also exists in the HomePods. So what if, like for now it's only when you wear your headset, but what if you look into specific appliance and tell it to turn on? And by having the ultra wideband chip, you can easily detect exact appliance you're talking to. So you're talking to this particular speaker, or you're talking to this, I don't know, ultra wideband enabled lamp, and it will turn on because it knows that you're speaking to that. However, that will require you always wearing that headset, which is kind of weird for now, and especially like probably the battery life. I don't know. So first of all, the rumors are that the battery will be on your belt rather than on the head.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that, it will still be like 2-3 hours of battery life. So it's not that you will be walking all day. And just one thing aside, maybe that's a good thing because your eyes need to rest. Like wearing this headset all the time probably will, even like Apple knows how to do that, but it will still be
staring into monitor. You will get used to this.
Right, but we all want to like currently like we say to the kids like don't stare in the monitor for the whole time. No, I'm not staring in the monitor. I'm just wearing glasses. Yeah. I was staring to the screen. Now I just take the glasses and I'm not touching my phone anymore. So we'll see. And again, like the more rumors I've heard and the more investigations I did, it seems that it's actually not a pretty like just the hype idea to have this headset. It actually can have some real cases, and that might be interesting. However, we're all now wait for Apple to show it, and provide us with the new stuff. So again, I still think that we are missing something which Apple already implemented. So there might be additional features which we didn't think about that. But before we wrap up.
They're really good in like designing new stuff that you never thought about that.
Yeah. So one thing I would like to ask like every listener who are like still listening to us or watching or anything. So what will be the framework to develop applications for that? So we have Swift UI, right? What kind of 3D Swift UI we will have for that? I mean, like my idea, like for the Siri, and let's imagine like the ideal world. When you have these glasses, what you can have is something like Jarvis or whatever. Like you wave your hands in the air and everything happens. Like you combine everything together. Like there are a lot of stuff. But this should be also in intelligence. So the voice control or like voice assistant, which will communicate with you properly. And by the way, we didn't mention, but the Apple also had special audio, the like properly positioned audio sources. So it's already there. So I think you will need to have your special audio enabled headphones for better experience for that. And a couple of headphones Apple already have with that. So I think that might boost their sales as well. So, but getting everything together. So if you can have something which you will interact like expressively, like, waving your hands in the air and telling something, give me that file, like put it here. And I mean, that's actually not that far. And we the only thing is, will that be actually, I don't know, effective? Like that like we saw that in the movies. So the people are doing a lot of stuff with that, but will that actually be working for regular engineers, regular creative people? Time will tell, I think.
But let's remember how Apple Watch started. We could barely use first, like Series 0. It was unusable, being honest. And now we have Apple Watch Ultra. Yeah, it took about 8 years to get to this point. But finally, Apple Watch is something that you can use for many, many cases, in many situations in your life. Starting from, I don't know, measuring your blood, like oxygen level and other stuff, which is important. And so this is interesting to see how Apple and taking into account all experience that Apple have with introducing new products. Maybe that would work.
We'll see. I mean, this WWDC we really look forward to. And as regards to the episodes, I think we will have some kind of recap of WWDC like the week after WWDC, or maybe 2 weeks, depending on the how busy we will be with that. And
You in all these sessions.
yeah, but I don't think we will be doing anything during WWDC week. I mean, that's yeah. I definitely have to go through a lot of sessions this year, and yeah, so we will be kind of busy. So hopefully you, as our viewers and listeners, will also be following that, and so we will try not to distract you from that as well. So it's there will be a lot of to get there. The only thing I'm currently in my mind, like, it will be really interesting if Apple doesn't show the headset. Like,
oh, that would be wonderful. I would be so happy.
we have a lot of theories, and like, nope. Here your bug fix releases for the iOS, macOS, and that's it. Have a nice day, guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. Someone mentioned that. Okay, it's now going to we're gonna have iOS 17, and you remember what happened in iOS 7? We got a full new interface design.
Yeah,
maybe they trying to do this awful false stuff with XR just to distract us from real change.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so do you have anything else to discuss today?
No.
I think we can then wrap things up. Thank you,
guys. 1 hour talking about XR stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was fun. But again, we will see next time, and we will try to get through what did we predict and hoped for, and what we actually got. And we will try to put the checks there.
Reality.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be interesting to compare. I mean, that would be a fun part, definitely. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, listening, watching, everything. Give us a review, subscribe whenever you can subscribe, do whatever you want, or like ratings, reviews, everything. We will be happy to hear from you, and we will see you next time quite soon.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.